Hey guys, my name is Abby. I'm here to talk to you about poetry and why it's awesome and you should read it. I know a lot of you probably think, ooh, poetry, it's probably a bunch of just old dead guys talking about love and romance and nothing fun, but that's where you're wrong. I have a couple reasons why reading poetry is fun and everybody should do it at least once in their life. Alright, so the first reason is poetry is fun. It's backwards here, but you can read it. I have a couple books here that are about poetry and how they're fun. So the first one is Falling Up by Shel Silverstein. It's a classic. It was published in 1996. It includes illustrations by the author, and it has some poems called Crazy Dream and Lion Larry. It's pretty fun. The second one I picked is Salt by Frost, Helen Frost. It's about 1812. There were some tensions between the British, Native Americans, and American people. And it's kind of about a relationship between two boys and how it's kind of interesting and hard to get through life. Alright, the next reason is poetry is cool. And then I've got my little piece of paper. The reason that these are cool is, first one, The Raven by Edgar Allan Poe. Yes, he is dead. Yes, this is a really old poem, but it's really interesting and it's crazy neat how gory and gross these poems can get. The other two I picked are actually like a little series. It's Love That Dog and Hate That Cat by Sharon Creech. I chose these because they're pretty simple, pretty quick reads, and they're pretty cool because they show how a boy learns how to express himself through poetry. Alright, the next two is Makes You Think. Poetry makes you think. So I have two of Ellen Hopkins, sorry. Really interesting books. They do look big, but they really aren't that bad. They're very quick. As you can see, I don't know how small each page is. But the first one is Crank. It's one of the classics. It is about a girl's addiction to meth and kind of how she works through that. There is some adult language and some sexual themes and some drug use, of course. But it is a really good book that makes you think about addiction and all those issues. And then the next one is a newer one, a 2014 Ellen Hopkins, and it's Rumble. It's the aftermath of a young brother's suicide because he was gay and got bullied. Very powerful poem, and it kind of makes you think about forgiveness, reconciliation, the treatment of others. It's a really good poem book to make you think. And the next reason is that poetry can be challenging. And the reason this is challenging, this is actually a nonfiction compilation of different people's poems. And it's called Poetry Speaks Who I Am. And it's kind of about coming of age, being a teenager, figuring things out. And that's why I chose this, because some of the Langston Hughes is in here, some of the classics, but also contemporary poems that kind of challenge you to think about who you are. And then my last reason is that it doesn't take much time to read a poetry book or a book that has as a poem format. And the last book that I have chosen, it's actually based on a true story in World War II. It's called Paper Hearts. It's about a couple girls that were in a concentration camp looking for paper to make birthday cards. But it's much more than that. It really kind of talks about history, and history is always something that's interesting and we shouldn't forget. And it doesn't take long to read and learn something interesting. So hopefully a few of these options that I've given you and told you about kind of turn you on to poetry a little bit, hopefully. It's not for everybody, I know that's true, but it is very easy to get into because of how fast you can read them, how interesting they are. And even though there's not a lot of words on the page, they still speak volumes. Alright, thank you guys.